You see, I'm coming to a view that the only thing I can really offer God is my will. And in some sense, my will in being orientated to what I understand to be the best, for the best. Yes, given I'm in the conscious world here, this world, universe, this dimension, it's dominated by my self-interest. And I suppose I can say that my self-interest is indeed to will, to appreciate, to look upon all that's good and lovely. And I have in the back of my mind, because doing so brings me closer to appreciating God and to knowing Him better. And that will, of course, mean that my will gets changed, transformed, I hope, to what is in harmony with all the goodness that I hold Him to be, from my perspective, of course. It's the only one I have. So all that I have, I give as my ideal, and that all is to whatsoever's good and lovely. Think on these things with the knowledge that it will bring me nearer to God, nearer to harmony with my God, which of course I trust to be loving Dad, a loving Dad to me, His child. Because I can't dream of valuing anything better than that. Because of course I'm talking about whatever a perfect God is. And I'm not clear on that, of course. I only have my experience of living to go by, but I'm trusting it to Him. And I think it's because I seek to think upon whatsoever's good and lovely, knowing that that will create in me a gratitude that harmonizes me with my God, yes, but therefore the true God ultimately, our Heavenly Dad, as I suppose, or visualize Him as. And my conception of an understanding of Him as it grows and changes will be the lovelier accordingly. And I will continue to dwell on whatsoever is good and lovely, unless, of course, I truly feel He values something that He understands to be better, which I don't understand yet. But I can trust Him for that. My desire is to trust Him, and for some reason He's put this desire in my heart, and it's almost certainly, I think, in my mind, almost certainly, because I have dwelt on what is good and lovely. You may say in some very limited degree, of course, but perhaps that is the cause of my desire to love Him, to think on that which is good and lovely, and ascribe it to Him, of course. Ascribe it to the cause of this good and loveliness, as I personify it as the one I love. This is my God. Love you, Dad. Thank you, Dad. So, will is to, well, ideally have fullness of life, life abundant. I'm not clear what this turns on, except I know that the more I notice that which is good and lovely, from my point of view, of course, the more I'm filled with such happiness that I want him to exist, God, that is, to thank him. I don't want to not thank him. That would be such a shame when I'm receiving such goodness. And as I see him as the author of goodness, because he's my God, the personification of what I value. So of course, I want to attribute it to him. Now, part of what I value about him is that he's loving and kind and will correct me where I have a misunderstanding. He is both able and loving. You know, my ideal is in that sense that he's a loving dad, loving parent. But I'm following the Jesus view that it's dad and what I associate with that, which is security, provision, abundance. But yes, the loving kindness that in fact I received more from Mum in warmth and care. So I'm not sort of gender biased, but okay, I'm taking it as dad, heavenly dad. So my offering, so to speak, what I do is I deliberately seek out to notice and be preoccupied with that which is good and lovely. It builds in me, of course, a great love for God, great desire to thank him, a gratitude that overwhelms me. And of course, being preoccupied with the good, a great assurance and hope. And from this, of course, peace, more love and more determination to appreciate all that's good and lovely as of him. My confidence grows such that, well, I might be faced with certain minor difficulties, but they often turn out to be a blessing. And perhaps they are in a way that I don't appreciate. I'm going to trust him for them. You see, my trust extends automatically. And it extends through to not just the trivial difficulties. You know, it rained when I'd like to have gone out in the sun. You missed the bus when rather you'd caught it. You know, you'd rather the car didn't need repair, but it does. But I can trust him for that. I mean, even to the extent that I thank him for it in trust. You're my dad. I love you. I trust you utterly. That's my offering, you see. And, okay, I only extend it to the extent that I can. And the rest of my time is preoccupied with appreciating all that I see as good and lovely. Not just the minor things that have gone wrong. So, I can only go as far as my trust allows me, but my trust grows the more I do focus on the good and the lovely and appreciate his benefits. Do you see there's a great increase in my consciousness of the good And it automatically transforms me to trusting him more and being more hopeful and more at peace, more assured, more able to love others, have an abundance that just flows out of one, a willingness to have a compassion, a desire to bless others as you've been blessed yourself. In other words, I see it as a panacea to simply dwell on whatsoever is good and lovely. You'll automatically want God to exist and want to thank him with all your heart and love him. You will automatically love him with all your heart, soul, mind and strength. It just follows naturally. Isn't that lovely? Now, according to the Jesus story and according to our hopes, our trust in him as all-powerful and all-loving, to whatever extent you do trust such. So you have life abundant and the hope of glory, life eternal. Your life's transformed by this continual offering of giving thanks for all that's good and all else that you are able to give thanks for accordingly. Bless you, and you are blessed. Thank you, Dad. I'd like to add that when you do thank God for the difficulties, you really start to see the blessings in your life. Amazing synchronicities, miracles. Not just my own experience, but that of many others too. You must find out if it's true of you, your life. I don't mean you should love God out of self-interest, but I think we do, and it leads to loving others, of course, partly because we have a superabundance and a great desire to spread the happiness that we experience. In other words, a great desire to rescue others comes of this practice of finding our own rescue in his goodness, in all that he gives, all the blessings whatsoever is good and lovely. So we find that our Heavenly Dad has brought us to true adult life, spiritually speaking, that we be appropriate ever to life eternal, which, in simplistic terms, is to be part of our Heavenly Dad's family. As an adult, not just as a child, as we are now perhaps, but as a fully mature child of God. We grow to be like our parents. And we think of that in terms of being a child of God. Well, the sky's not the limit. There is no limit, is there? We have a wonderful Dad. There's a Christian song, each time I think of you, the praises start. Love you so much. Bless you. Thank you, Dad. Hear these praises from a grateful heart. Each time I think of you, praises start. Love you so much, Jesus. Love you so much. Thank you, Dad.